What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do kind of an updated 2026 PlayStation Vita modding guide, but this isn't just going to be a straight on through guide. Actually going through some of the videos I made last year on modding this PlayStation Vita, I got a ton of questions and comments, and a lot of them were the same thing. A lot of them were some of the same issues that everybody was having. So I wanted to kind of touch on each of those, and so we're going to kind of go through the process a little bit faster than what we have in the last videos, because we've got those for reference. But I want to spend more time on the specific questions and issues that you've had. I'm probably not going to hit everyone's. I tried to take the ones that I saw the most common ones of and sort of break it up into each section of an update, and we'll go from there. So I actually have this super sweet Persona 4 dancing all night Vita. It was a Japanese only exclusive. It is awesome, man. It is really cool, but it's actually already modded. So some of the questions I was getting is, can you do this to an already modded system? And I'm going to show you how I do that and kind of talk our way through it there. It also has a PlayStation memory card, so we're going to do a little bit of work with that because we got some questions there. And then also we'll go through the process of setting everything up with the SD to Vita as well. So there's not one in here right now, but I'm going to kind of show you that you can go either route, which again was a lot of the questions. So buckle in and let's jump into it. All right, so I have our new, well, my new Vita powered down, okay? And where I like to start with any new build, any new mod, is I like to format the whole thing. Most of the time you're getting these used, so it has other people's profiles, games, everything like that. Sometimes you want to keep that stuff. This is not 100% required, okay? This is one of the big questions I got. You do not have to factory reset your Vita every time you update it. However, I recommend it because that's going to clear up a lot of the other issues that you could run into along the way. Part of the exploit that we use is browser based, right? So now you're dealing with cookies and internet history. And then there's directory structures and assigning different directories to be different drives and partitions once we set up the Vita to sort of run the way we want it after it's been modded. So to clear up anything that's been done beforehand, I highly recommend that you do a factory reset on it. You can do it, like I showed in the last video, you can do it through the menus. Some people were running into problems with that. So what I recommend is you do a kind of a safe mode boot and a factory restart that way. So to do this, you hold the right shoulder button down. You hold the right shoulder button down, the PlayStation button down, and then you turn it on. And you hold all three as it powers up until you get to a menu that starts showing you some safe mode options. Uh-oh. I'll let go of the button. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to restore the system. So restoring the system will take it back to factory defaults. It'll wipe out anything that's been installed, everything like that. Here's the next thing that's kind of interesting. I've had a lot of people ask me, can I be logged in to my PSN account? Everything that I have read, everything that I understand about the system says that yes, you can be connected to your PlayStation account. It's not a big deal. That you'll be just fine running it. However, I'm here to tell you, I never do. I never attach a modded console to an official network. If you want to attach it to official network, don't do it here. Do it once you get through the mod and you get everything done, then you can attach it to the PlayStation network. I would also recommend, before you take maybe your official PlayStation Network account that you've had for decades, right? Potentially, I wouldn't use that account to start with. I would create a new account and attach this to it and then test it for a little while, see what happens. That's just my opinion. Again, I don't recommend that you attach it. I know that I've read online, a lot of people have, and they've had, no problems, no issues with it. It seems like it's fine to attach. I don't think Sony's paying too much attention to this anymore. Just for this video, for my personal preferences, I do not attach to it. But that's another question I get a lot of is, hey, can we attach you want to keep tracking your achievements and things like that, which I totally understand. The way I understand it, you can, but it's one of those, buyer beware things. You guys need to do your research for sure and make sure that you're totally comfortable with it. I really think it's a good idea to create sort of a burner account, so to speak, just to test with first. All right, now that we have connected to Wi-Fi and the system updated, now we can do the jailbreak. And this is actually where another issue came up. When we're doing the jailbreak, and one thing that is kind of interesting with it is you need to go to address, right? So you see how it popped up, just go to address. You want to make sure that you go to HTTP, not HTTPS, right? Because you don't want that. That's typical secure websites. This is not. We're going http://jailbreak.psp2.dev. HTTP without the S, jailbreak.psp2.dev. Then right here, got to make sure we're on our supported firmware, which we are. We just updated to 3.74. We're going to unlock my Vita. We're going to hit unlock again. All right, got to get rid of these hints. All right. Once we're here now, we can say we want to install HENkaku. And with the X button. And we're going to go ahead and install VitaDeploy as well. And then we say X. All right, with both of those installed, we come down to settings. And inside your settings, you're going to see a new menu now, HENkaku settings. And we need to just come in here for now and enable unsafe homebrew. Then we can go into VitaDeploy. And we need to roll back the firmware to 3.65. I think that this step right here, if this step's skipped, you miss out on some things later in the video, and you end up running into issues later in the video. And I think some of the issues that some people were having with other applications running is because they didn't do this install. Can't say for sure. Every console is a little different. Every experience is a little different. Just giving you a basic possibility of what could be happening here. So we're going to install a different OS, and we're just going to do the quick 3.65 install. This will roll us back to 3.65, and we'll pick it up when it's done. Okay, firmware is updated. We've spoofed the version, still hooked up online. Everything's looking good. Now we're going to, so in my first video, I used the SD to Vita adapter. In this video, I'm going to use the proprietary standard memory card that comes with the Vita. I've had a lot of people ask me if that's possible, if you could do it. So those are the steps I'm going to run through in this video. It's very, very similar to setting up the SD to Vita. Under VitaDeploy app downloader, we want YAMT installer. Download the selected apps. After that one's installed, once we have YAMT installer installed, we can open it up. And we install the light version. X to select here. Done. It's going to reboot. Okay, once you're back, if you're using the SD to Vita, you need to format the SD card that's in there. Well, a couple of questions I got on using the SD to Vita is, should we format it on a PC before we go into that? It's not exactly required, but it's something that I have seen actually help this process a little bit. So if you use like a Win32 or a FAT32 formatter on your PC, format the card before you bring it here. It could help. The brand and quality of your SD card, if you're using an SD to Vita, matters a lot too. So pulling out the last one we did, when it comes to cheaper memory, when I'm doing SD cards, I stick with Samsung. I stick with SanDisk, right? Like they're two very good memory. Micro Center, if you have a Micro Center near you, I have actually had really good outcomes with Micro Center SD cards as well. Outside of those three brands, it's not worth whatever you're saving to try to get cheaper no-name memory cards. You got to watch out because they do a really good job of making them look legit, making them look like they're one of the bigger brands, but they're not. Stick with Samsung, stick with SanDisk, or Micro Center. Micro Center is a good one too, but make sure you're buying quality cards. So formatting this before you put it in here, probably a good idea. Again, we're not doing that in this video. We're going to use the memory card, but I'm going to go through kind of the same process. So under VitaDeploy, miscellaneous, I want to format a storage device, and I want to format the external memory card. And I'm going to format it to, external memory card. Internal memory card is my storage device. If you have the other model, you might not have a large storage device. You might have been using memory card this whole time, but I'm going to format the external memory card. It is formatted. It was formatted before. Shouldn't be that difficult. And then we're going to go back to our HENkaku settings. No, sorry. We're going to go to devices, storage devices, under settings, storage devices. We're going to use YAMT. This is another part where I think people get held up. Using YAMT and assigning these two properly is very important for the things we're going to do down the line as far as installing games and exploits and patches and things like that. If you're using an SD to Vita, this UX0 is basically your primary storage partition. This is where we're going to put everything, games, everything like that. And honestly, that's why I recommend using an SD to Vita, because the size you get out of the SD to Vita is just, it's so much more than what you can get with the stock. I'm pretty sure the stock memory cards only went up to 64 gig, but I might be wrong about that. If I am wrong, leave me a comment, let me know. UMA0 is extra storage. So a lot of times I will set UMA0 to like my internal storage. It's like a secondary backup. Or if you're using an SD2Vita, then you can also have UMA0 as your memory card, or in my case, internal storage. You know, you can do it a lot of different ways. It's really, you're not gonna install games or things to UMA0. You're gonna do everything to UX0. But if you're using a memory card, UX0 is the most important thing to define here. UMA0, secondary device, something that you have on your storage that is also available to YAMT, is basically what you're defining here. And with the system restarted, just to double check that we've set everything properly, one thing we can do to check is we can go into settings and we can go down to system and system information. Now, right here, I have a 4 gig memory card installed, and that's accurate. If I were to have an SD2Vita, like we saw in the last video, it would show like 116 gig free, right? But right now it's just the memory card, because that's where we're going to set everything up here. All right, here was another step where I think people got hung up the first time as well. So what have we done so far? We've jailbroke our system, we've spoofed the software, we've installed YAMT, we've installed VitaDeploy, we've done a lot of things. But at this point, I have told my system that the memory card is now your main storage to use, right? So the internal memory is where we were working before. And it's the same thing when you switch over to an SD2Vita. Once you assign this through YAMT, the system is not going to have access to those other partitions it was using in the beginning when we first started the exploit. So you'll notice on here, there's no YAMT installed, at least like the installer icon. And there, more importantly, there's no VitaDeploy installed. So you actually have to, once you get to this point and you've assigned the directories and you've assigned the partitions to the new device, whether it's an SD2Vita, whether it's the internal memory, whether it's a memory card, you have to reinstall those things now. And now that you've assigned all those directories and set up the partitions on the devices that you want, the installation is actually going to go to the device that you've just defined. So to reinstall VitaDeploy one more time, we have to go back the same way we did it the first time through our browser. Now, the cool thing about this is that we actually have a link here in our history, basically in our browser history, that we can just go to, and it'll have us all set up again. So we're going to unlock our Vita again. And we're going to install HENkaku again. And then we're going to install VitaDeploy again. And then we're going to exit. All right, so now we have VitaDeploy back. We can go into VitaDeploy and app downloader. And this time we're going to install Vita Shell, VitaDB downloader. We're going to install, I'll do YAMT again just so we have it. We shouldn't need it again, but that's fine. Adrenaline and PKGj are two of the big ones. That's where we're going to get all of our games and things like that. You can do custom themes. There's a lot of different things you can do in here. Those are the ones I'm going to stick with for this video. All right, we're done here. We're out of that. Now, this part right here, I think if there was one thing I got the most questions on, it was with PKGj. PKGj is an awesome application. It is an amazing tool. It allows you to download PSP games, PS1 games. I think there are some Vita games in there, or some Vita downloadables, but that's another app. VitaDV downloader is more specifically for Vita games. But for PSP, PS1, PKGj is the application we want to use. Now, PKGj out of the box needs to be set up and configured a little bit. Another thing that I have noticed is that the PlayStation Vita, it's a little bit older device. It prefers a 2.4 gig internet connection. You know, there's more modern routers and stuff as we've moved into like 5 gig internet connections, Wi-Fi signals. It does not do well with those at all. So, and even the ones where it does like a smart hybrid 2.4, 5, it does a lot better if you have just a 2.4 gig connection. My Wi-Fi does have a pure just 2.4 gig connection. It's a little older, so I'm good to go there. But if you're having problems with your internet or anything of this step so far, see if you can take it to a library, take it somewhere with public Wi-Fi. Most of the times, if you go to hotels, things like that, and I'm not saying to go sit in a hotel and you know, mod your Vita, but you can at least go there and try some of the steps we've done so far and isolate if the issue you're having is with your Wi-Fi connection, your internet connection, or if it's actually with your you know, with the Vita itself. So as we move forward, keep that in mind too. It might not be something with the Vita. It might not be something with the software on the Vita. It might be, you know, an external factor such as your Wi-Fi, things like that. So PKGj. When you fire up PKGj for the first time, it takes a little bit to get in, and when you get there, you're empty. There's nothing here. This is a comment I got a whole bunch. Even though on my last video I showed you what to do, I'm going to do it again, just for those of you in the back. We need to hit triangle. See, it says try to refresh, right? Well, how you refresh is you hit triangle, and then you go down here to refresh. And you hit circle. Circle for entering everything in this menu. All right, now we're refreshing games. We're making a list. Things are going rather well. All right, now we have everything, which is really great. This is awesome. If you look over here on the right, you'll see the size of each of these things. Do not forget, this is a 4 gig memory card. Okay, I can put 3 of these 1 gig games on here, right? That's it. And so if I want to have more games, I need to move to an SD2Vita, which is honestly why I recommend this, so that you can actually have several games in your library. Or I need to, you know, download the ones I want, play them, delete them, move to another one, things like that. Now, when you're going to some of the smaller games here, 36 Fragments of Midnight, it looks smaller. 10-Second Ninja is 205 meg. That's, you know, we can do a few of those. That's pretty good. For me, I like, let's see here. We're going to start with a PSP game. Actually, we're going to do a search. And so if I only want USA games, all right, these are only the USA games that were here. If I only want to see PSP games, right, I can select that. Now I'm only looking at PSP games. And one of my favorite games to download and to test with is a space shooter for $2, because one, it's a phenomenal game. It's a great game. If you haven't played it, you absolutely have to play it. But two, it's only 56 meg. So it's a very quick download that we can go ahead and install it, get it running. So I'm going to go ahead and you see down here at the bottom, it says press circle to install. I'm going to hit circle on a space shooter for $10. You see it's downloading. It's not downloading super fast. I'm going at 927 kilobytes a second. I have seen a lot of comments that say, hey, I get stuck at 0. It doesn't move. It doesn't games aren't downloading. If you're trying to download a game and it's not downloading, try to come to this game. So now you've seen that this game right here, a space shooter for $2, downloads, works perfect. Okay. If you come to this game and it downloads and installs, that means everything you've done to your PS Vita is good so far. Everything is working. Your Wi-Fi connection is working. Everything's working. The problem is that sometimes this database is out of date. Links are broken. It's not maintained by any company or organization. It's just people contributing to it. So sometimes you're going to find that you're going to run across games in here that just don't work. I haven't seen any of the games that I've wanted to download and play, but that doesn't mean that we have the same taste in games. Maybe you're trying to download a game that I haven't tried to yet. If you get stuck on a specific game, leave me a comment and tell me what the actual game is and what region it's from so that I can try it on my own. When people just say games aren't downloading, that doesn't make sense to me, because here I am downloading a game right now. It's downloading perfectly. In fact, it was just installed. It downloaded the entire thing. I can go up to, 300 March to Glory. This is a little bit bigger game. This is 867 megs. I can download this one. I've downloaded it before. I'm not going to do it for time purposes, but if you run into a problem with a specific game, instead of leaving a comment that says games aren't downloading for me, leave a comment that says this game specifically did not download for me. Then I can come to my Vita and I can test it, and I can actually give you some feedback, and then we can start to isolate if it's an issue with the database, if it's an issue with the game itself, whatever, right? All right, so back to this. There is PKGj installed, the database is refreshed, and we downloaded a game. It 100% works, at that level. I can't say for a fact for 100%. I have not downloaded every single one of these games. I have no idea if they all work, right? You might run across ones that don't. If you do, leave me a comment. Tell me which one it is. All right, kick that horse enough. Now, once we've downloaded our game, we come out of here, and that's when we move to the other application that we installed, or one of them, Adrenaline. Adrenaline is basically, it feels like the PSP interface. And let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and download the firmware. All right, so fired up into Adrenaline. Adrenaline is our, PSP emulator. We can go down into the memory stick. Now, this is something to pay attention to. All right, we've already used basically, what's that? Like 15% of our available space. One small game, and the applications we're installing. I don't know if I can really drive this home enough, but the SD2Vita is the absolute best upgrade you can do for your PlayStation Vita. Doing an SD2Vita is awesome. Now, some people don't like to do the SD2Vita because it does take up your game slot, and a lot of people have a pretty great Vita library of games. So in that case, this is probably the way you want to go. I would recommend getting a little bit larger memory card, but they're very expensive, and this is the one I have on hand. Go into your, so if we were doing SD2Vita, it would show this right here, as your memory stick or whatnot. We go in here, and here's the game that we just downloaded. All right, guys, that's the updated 2026 PS Vita Jailbreak and PKGj setup video. We kind of steadied through it just because I wanted to get specifically into detail on some of the issues I'd seen in some comments. So if you follow these steps, you should have clean reset, proper plugins, defining your storage space, things like that. you should be good to go. You shouldn't be seeing any file corruptions, no 0% downloads, no error codes, black screens, white screens, none of that anymore. If this helped you, drop a comment below and let me know. If you do things a little different, I'd love to see that in the comments too, because just because I do it this way doesn't mean it's the only way to do it. So if you guys have, you know, opinions or ideas, I'm always open to hearing that kind of stuff too. If you're still having an issue, those are the most important comments I want to see. I want to know very specific information as far as what part of the process breaks. Leave me timestamps. Let me know if you're getting error codes or if it's a specific game through PKGj, anything like that. Let me know. I try to answer every comment I can because I want to help you guys get set up with this too. If you're new to the channel, I'd really appreciate you subscribing. Subscribing helps me negotiate with, you know, different sponsors and things like that. The channel where they enable me to do bigger projects. These things take time and money and things like that. So you know, having more subscribers is kind of a metric they use to help me grow. So appreciate the growth we've had so far, and to all my subscribers, I really do thank you for being here. If you like the video, like the video. If you'd like to see an update to the other 2 Vita videos I did last year, let me know that in the comments too. I know there were some issues with doing the Vita DB downloader, but if you guys are still having issues with that, let me know. Maybe we can do an update on that as well. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have yourselves a great week, great month, and we'll see you in the next one.